Good morning, everyone. Isaiah 53 verses 10 to 12 this morning. Some of the most epic portions of the Old Testament, and I'm not sure what the others have said about this passage already because it's been split over a few of us, and that's because I'm recording mine a week early. But it is an epic messianic prophecy. Words written about the Messiah who was to come, written 700 BC. And I approach it with a slight bit of fear, respect and trembling. Martin Luther said that all Christians should record it in their hearts, part of Isaiah 53. Theologians have called it the fifth gospel: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John and Isaiah 53. Charles Spurgeon, the great London preacher, said it's the Bible in miniature, or the gospel in very essence. Polycarp, the student of John the Apostle, said it's a golden portion of the Old Testament. Every Saturday around the world, Jews meet in synagogues, and part of their service is to read out a portion of the Old Testament. When they get to Isaiah 53, they just skip it. They just pretend it's not even there. Why do they do that? They can't handle, it's a little bit awkward, the fact that it so clearly speaks and prophesies about the coming Messiah. And it so clearly points to Jesus. Listen to some of the words that are in Isaiah 53. He was despised and rejected, a man of suffering, familiar with pain. Surely he took up our pain and bore our suffering. We considered him punished by God, stricken by him. He was pierced for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him, and by his wounds we are healed. The Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all, and he was led like a lamb to the slaughter. Words that so clearly describe and point to Jesus. The words of Isaiah 53 are the very heart of the Christian message, the very heart of the gospel. A suffering servant was pierced, humiliated, broken. He was the substitute, the substitutionary servant who took your place so that you and me could go free. And I'm in verse 10 this morning, and it says this: yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and to cause him to suffer. And though the Lord makes his life an offering for sin, he will see his offspring and prolong his days. Yet it was the Lord's will to crush him. It was God's will to crush him, to pierce him, to have him broken so that we could go free. If I had an egg in my hand, I would have the freedom to choose to squash the egg or to not squash the egg. I was going to get an egg, but I've forgotten to bring it out to the garden room. The beauty of life is that we've got the freedom to choose of how we live our lives. We've got the freedom to choose to do good, to be a blessing, and we've got the freedom to choose to do evil if that's what you want to do. Sadly, we all know we live in a world of genocide, of murder, of rape, of unspeakable things that go wrong and badly in this world. Lots of people have made wrong choices of how to live their lives. For all sorts of circumstances, they've made wrong decisions, and the world is in such a mess because of people making those wrong decisions. But I want to ask a big question this morning. Ask it to myself and to you. I love my wife. Would I die instead of Lisa so that she could go free? I like to say yes. Given that choice, I would do that. What about for my children? Would I die for my children so that they could go free? I'd say yes, I'd die for my children. What about for my friends, for my brothers and sisters? Would I die so that they would go free? Possibly some of my friends, possibly some of my brothers and sisters. What about another one? Would I die for people I don't even know? Would I die instead of a murderer? Would I die instead of a rapist? Would I die instead of somebody that hates me and wanted to kill me, would I die instead of them? Probably not. What about for the worst possible sinners, for murderers? Would I give up my son so that they could go free? No, there's no chance I'd even consider that. But it says this, yet it was the Lord's will. God chose to send his son to take the punishment for he took the worst punishment possible for the worst people possible. He took the place. He was a substitute. Why did he do that? It says this, God says, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities, for he bore the sin of many and made intercession for the transgressions. It was God's plan. It was God's will to send his son so that he would take the place of sinners like me and you, so that we could go free, so that we could be forgiven, so that we could have fullness of life or abundant life. And it was God's plan for us to live our lives, to make good choices, to be a blessing, to encourage people, to do good things, to do good deeds. Let's not forget, and let's be thankful so much for what Jesus has done upon the cross, that he took our place so that we could have the freedom to choose how to live our lives. Let's live them for him, and let's glorify him and his name. Have a great day, everybody. Look forward to seeing you all soon. God bless. Bye-bye.